My knees are shot to pieces. Oh, are yours as well? They get, I should think so, sat in those tiny chairs, but bent up like, yeah. So yeah, it gets quite uncomfortable. Are we sitting comfortably? Shall we begin? Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to the International Arena here at the Just Retirement World Indoor Bowls Championships 2016 at Potter's Leisure Resort. Without further ado, let's bring out the players. First out, just awarded the WBT Young Player of the Year, the English Under-25 International, Connor Sonato. And playing Connor is the former World Indoor Champion, world rank number 5 with over 100 caps for England. It is Mr. Andy Thompson, MBE. And now it's over to the commentary box with commentary from Janice Gower and Darren Burnett.
Well, thanks very much, Sean, and welcome everybody to the World Bowls Tour live YouTube stream. Here for this very exciting first round game. And as Sean mentioned there, I'm delighted to be joined in the commentary box by the 2014 Indoor World Champion and also the current Commonwealth Games Singles Gold Champion, Darren Burnett. Welcome to Comms, Darren.
Thanks, Janice. Obviously delighted to be here. This is going to be a really interesting game. Connor, an English under-25 player, playing against his new team manager in Andy Thompson, so really looking forward to it.
Yes, Connor will be out to impress, but he's also a young man who's played very well in the PBA qualifiers. He qualified for Super Bowl back in 2014 and just narrowly was defeated in the singles by the eventual winner Billy Jackson. Looks on a good line here, Darren.
Yeah, just unlucky to find the gap there. But yeah, good opening from both players, which is really what you want on portable rink.
Yeah, for those viewers out there that like to know early doors what these players are playing with bowls-wise, selection-wise, Andy Thompson's part of the Taylor's stable and he plays with Taylor Ace. And Connor is part of the Drake's Pride stable. Connor's elected to not play with his Drake's Pride professionals though, and he's gone playing with the XPs. He fancied a slightly swingier bowl, Darren. I think that's the way a lot of the players are viewing the rink this year.
Yeah, I think so. Obviously we had a new carpet underlay quite recently and it's just slowed the carpet down slightly. What we are finding this year is some of the hands are just holding off slightly. Still very playable, but just holding off. So players are tending to use a bigger swinging bowl just to try and get back to the middle.
Well, Andy looks down a good track again with these.
Yeah, it's a super opening from Andy here. You know, 3 cracking bowls. Slightly unfortunate, probably just to spread the target slightly, but great opening.
Yeah, Andy knows himself. I was talking to him in comms with him the other day. Darren, he knows the standard of Connor. He's his team manager at under 25 level, and he's in the area here.
Oh, Super Bowl, absolutely brilliant bowl.
Great bowl.
What a turnaround, you know, probably from 3 down potentially to almost 3 up.
Full of confidence. Connor's only 19, he's the youngest player in the tournament. Andy is normally considered the elder statesman of the top 16. He's a couple of years older than Conor.
Yeah, just a few, but Andy over the last few years has been absolutely superb. You know, he's won the World Singles Championship, I think, back in 2012, and then runner-up last year. So many would say, even though he's ageing, he's still a very, very quality player and a dangerous opponent.
Well, chance for Conor here. It'd be great to counter 3 early doors. Fantastic start. We played 2 sets of 9 ends, and if necessary, a 3-end tie break. A 3 at the first end would suit young Conor Sonato very nicely.
Yeah, just trying to urge this one on. He might just be coming up slightly short, but fantastic end. You know, Andy played some top balls and he's turned it down with a beautiful shot. Line 2, maybe measure for 3.
Yeah, it looks like the umpire's being called on to let us know which is third bowl. The marker today is Francis Fletcher and the umpire is Tom Weir.
Yeah, many would say there's probably no point in Andy looking at it. I think he's probably got the worst eyes on the circuit, and he would probably admit that himself.
I think it might just be red.
2 shots, Conor Sonato.
2 shots to Conor. He takes the opening end of this first round encounter.
Yeah, and a fantastic end. If it stays like this, we're in for an absolute treat. Great end.
Please don't forget, we're here with you at the World Indoor Bowls Championship, kindly sponsored by Just Retirement and hosted by Potters Resort. While we're on YouTube, we have the Twitter feed, which is hashtag World Bowls Tour 1. We're available on Facebook, on YouTube, on the chat. And if you have any questions for Darren while he's with us, just bob them down and we'll try and put them to Darren for you this morning. And if you can't stay with us, you can pick up all the scores and results on worldbowlstour.tv, the new World Bowls Tour website.
Yeah, Conor just coming up slightly short with his opener there. It's been a common theme this year, coming down this way, particularly on the backhand. Players just coming up slightly neat. I think mainly caused just by the fact that hand has just held off slightly more than normal, and players are trying to just play perfect weight, and doing that, just dropping slightly short.
Yes, as you mentioned, Darren, we've seen that quite a bit so far this week. Conor's adjusted well there.
It's now 3 inches.
Nice crowd here at Potters Resort this morning. Andy Thompson's always a crowd favourite. I think some will be surprised if they've never seen young Conor before. He's a quality player for someone so young.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, there's so much young talent around the game just now, and to see some of them breaking through into these events is what the game needs. You know, I think as a qualifier, having been one myself some time ago, you want to start these games really well. You don't want to give the seed any confidence, and Conor certainly done that.
Yes, we were mentioning earlier, Darren, about the qualifying process. It's open to all, any age, any ability. Just find out where your local PBA branch is. And you too could play in the qualifiers, get your chance to be here. Over the last few years, Darren, quite a number of you have come through that process and got into the top 16. So it does prove the system works.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, for a long time it seemed difficult to break in, but when you look at it now, you've got myself, Stuart Anderson, Robert Paxton, Nicky Brett, Mark Dawes. You know, the list's endless. So there is a turnaround now, and the top 16 know that they can't afford many bad tournaments or you'll drop out. So that's a good thing. You want the sport to evolve and new players to get their chance.
Good ball again from Connor there, well positioned.
Yeah, I mean, a marvellous end again. You know, Andy's under a bit of pressure here. He doesn't want to drop a 3, put him 5-0 down this early in the set. So this is quite a big bowl already in this first set.
Just electing to draw down, try and cut the count down. I think it's all on the pace here.
Yeah, he's very close here, I think. Very close. Just depends on the connection. A wee bit unlucky here.
Well, one green declared.
One shot, Connor Sonato.
Yeah, won again, so puts him into a 3-0 lead. So yeah, great opening from Connor. Andy will just be pleased to have saved that 3 and only lost the 1.
Yes, if Connor remains this calm, like I say, he did play at Super Bowl to quite rowdy crowd, so he's used to playing under a crowd. You were at Super Bowl yourself. Darren, you won the pairs with Crown Green's Chris Brown.
I did, yeah. Totally enjoyed that event. Obviously enjoyed playing with Chris. We hit it off really well, and it was a new addition to our side of the game, just to hear some of the humorous comments that go on in the Crown Green game. So yeah, it was really good, and it'd be nice to see it again in the future sometime.
Yes, and when you see at the time Connor was only 17, you worry a bit about the banter, will it get to him, but he took it on board. Andy watching that bowl intently. Just played just over.
Yeah, you can certainly see coming down the rink, Connor's bowls are taking a really good turn, and he's finding the middle quite a lot. As a player, that's what you want to see. When you're not finding the middle, then you start to adjust things. Your weight can be lost quite easily. So yeah, it's great to see your bowls going out there, coming back, finding centre of the rink.
Andy's better here, all on his pace.
Yeah, good ball, drawn the shot. Down a great track again here, just depends, he might just miss the jab.
One red.
Andy obviously just be trying to add another bowl into the head here, just the one red in there, so another one in and he looks pretty decent. Yeah, well played.
Yeah, sets up a bit of a target for Connor here. Similar bowl to his last would possibly reach to Andy's last bowl. Darren?
Yeah, much similar to his last. I think the important thing for Andy was he needed another ball in the head, so he can't really complain where it's ended. Connor does have a wee trail of the jack to make the 3.
Might have played this under the line, might get a result off his own short bowl.
Certainly got a result there, just under the target. May have secured the shot. tricky shots to play these on the portable rink. Probably the hardest shot, I would think the top 16 would say.
One green.
It's just over the weight. The hands seem to dip very quickly. When you go a bit wider, they tend to just hang out. So a very, very difficult shot. And most of the top 16 probably try and stay away from it now and either go very quick or just stick to draw.
Well, Andy's got a yard of room here. You'd probably put your mortgage on him drawing in here for shot.
Yeah. No mistakes made.
Well, you mentioned about Andy's eyesight earlier, Darren. He's having a look at that. Hard to tell from our camera angle.
One shot, Andy Thompson.
Just the one, but it gets Andy Thompson,
Second score, 1-3.
world ranked 5 on the scorecard. One of the questions we do often have asked, Darren, is do the players play with their own bowls, or do you have to play with bowls that are given to you?
Most players will have a manufacturer that they're familiar with, so they will play with their bowls. Most of the top 16 certainly have their own set of red and green. However, at each venue there are pool bowls from all the manufacturers, and you're more than welcome to pick up a set and try them out. Certainly, for the last few years, I've tended to use some of the pool bowls when I'm red. I'm more than happy with my green ones and use them all the time, but just as the rink has changed, I've started to use a different red bowl. So there are players in the top 16 that will use bowls at the venue, although they may have their own set. Just depends the conditions of the rink and how it's playing.
1 yard.
Yes, and of course, some of the overseas players can't necessarily bring their bowls with them, such as players from the America and Canada. They play their qualifiers on outdoor rinks, so they want to change to an indoor model of bowl, and there's the pool bowls here that the World Bowls Tour provide for any players. Well, good game all round so far from these two gladiators.
1 red.
Yeah, both players will be quite happy with their start to the match. You know, they're getting the first few bowls in near the jack and setting up the ends and giving themselves a chance. So, yeah, I think they'll both be more than happy with the way they've started. The next few ends are probably going to decide this set, so probably the next 2 or 3 ends are very important.
And just dropped short there, as you mentioned before, tends to be coming towards our commentary position. Players just dropping short, certainly on this, the backhand, which is the side to the right of your television screen.
Yeah, and traditionally coming this direction, that's the hand most players would favour, and I think the key to what you're watching is a lot of players are switching onto the forehand, the opposite side coming this way, which is quite unusual, and I think that shows that players aren't just quite so comfortable down that backhand for some reason. But you know, I've watched a few games and players are switching more than they normally would.
Of course, for those viewers who are new to watching a World Bowls Tour event, these games are played on a portable rink, so there is actually a staging under this with the underlay and then carpet put on top. And that's actually laid on top of the
2 red.
international arena rinks here at Potter's Resort.
Yeah, good ball from Andy there. He's made the 2 and forced corner into switching onto this backhand side, so we'll see how he fares coming down it. He does have a chance to draw the shot.
His height looks good. What's his weight like?
Certainly a fantastic effort, just has to settle in at the back of the jack. It follows, it's definitely short, not sure if it sits up.
One
Nice
shot, Connor
view of
Sonato.
Connor's mum and dad there.
It was a great shot. He's made the shot.
Set
and,
score 1-4.
very big ball, you know, even this early in the set. Keeps them 4-1 in front. Big difference from 3-all.
And Connor's mum and dad give him a lot of support. We're all very fortunate, the players. We have great family support. I think you need it when you're playing on a circuit like this, playing a lot of bowls. But certainly, obviously, Connor's only just of the age where he can start driving himself, and I believe he started playing bowls when he was 6 years old.
Yeah, well, many would say that's the age to get into the sport. No longer can we class it as an old person's game, very much the opposite. I certainly started when I was 8, and you know, looking at the folk that are coming from primary schools now, that's kind of the age group that we're trying to target. Certainly in my area, a lot of the local primary schools, since the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, have started to get into the bowls again, and they come down regularly to the local bowling clubs, and it's great to see. That's the hopefully the future of the sport, and for the schools to participate is excellent.
Yes, like you say, I think Commonwealth Games in particular gave the sport some good exposure with the media, and I think a few people then realised that it wasn't just a old man's sport, as it's always had the reputation of being. We see a few more youngsters about. Of course, we've launched for the first time this year the World Bowls Tour. Have got a under 25s championship. We have the semi-finals and finals of these next weekend. Well, the final weekend of the championship. Connor just missed out on that. He couldn't get to the qualifiers because he was representing a club team event.
One red.
It also goes on top ranked under 25 player in the PBA rankings, and Connor was just next on that list.
Yeah, just a slightly more loose end from Connor. He's given Andy the chance to draw another second shot here, and Connor again going to be faced with a tricky last bowl. Oh, Andy just has to settle. Yeah, probably fall back in. So yeah, he's drawn the second shot there, and again, similar to the last end, Connor's got one left, and he really needs to try and get in. Don't really see any other option than just a draw. Slight correction on his last bowl. His line was good.
Well, his track looks good. What's his pace like? Needs to rest the back red bowl.
And I think he's very good here. Very good.
Bowl.
One red.
Might not have moved the shot, but an excellent bowl. Very difficult now for Andy to add a second. Connor will be more than happy with that.
Well, we've got viewers all over the world tuning in to us on the YouTube. I was asked to give a mention to the residents on Sunley Court at Kettering. They're all out there supporting young Connor here. Hope you're enjoying this game on a Tuesday morning here from Potter's Resort.
Yeah, good effort from Andy, but as you see, Connor's
One shot,
last
Thompson.
bowl was a crucial one. Otherwise, he probably would have dropped a 3 there. So Connor will be really delighted with the way he's played, even if he has had a slightly looser end. He's played a couple of great last bowls and probably deserves his slight lead at the moment.
Yeah, Connor leads 4-2 after 5 ends, and we play 2 sets of 9 ends, and if necessary, a 3-end tie break.
Jack length 26 metres.
Slightly shorter length of jack here from Andy. Looks on a good track.
Yep, good opener. Obviously a change of length from Andy with the jack, as you say, and he'll be quite happy with that opener.
Just a bit of a loose bowl there from Connor. Different length from Andy here though. Trying to shake Connor up a little bit. We've had a question in from a viewer, Darren, for you. Is it harder to get into the top 16 than drop out?
Yeah, it's a good question, and quite a big debate, I would imagine, around many a bowls club throughout the country. I've been on both sides of it. Certainly when I was trying to break in, you do find it very difficult to just make that breakthrough. I think I got to World 18 once and then slipped back into the 20s, and thankfully with a bit of perseverance I managed to get in. But I think now we're down to 3 ranking tournaments, and the fact that we have tour cards and other avenues into events, I think you've seen over the last few years, as I mentioned earlier, with myself, Stuart, Nicky, Robert Paxton, Mark Dawes, the options are there. I'm not saying it's easy, it's certainly far from it. The qualifiers are extremely difficult, a very high standard, and to qualify for probably 2 or 3 events, which you probably need, makes it very difficult. So, but there are more turnaround now, so I would say the options going forward, hopefully you'll see some new players breaking in.
Yes, I think we were having a look at the rankings earlier, and certainly the players 14, 15 and 16 become vulnerable in the top 16, and certainly those just on the outside, 17, 18 and 19, have got the chances. As you mentioned, it's always handy to try and get all 3 ranking events, and that's by the route of the tour card. And the tour card winners that are playing here in this event, Robert Chisholm and Gary R. Smith. And as I mentioned earlier, Connor Sinato has actually qualified for those finals, so he'll be looking for a tour card for next season.
Yeah, Super Bowl from Andy there. There was a chance for Connor just to arrive on it and turn the jack, but he's probably stopped that option. And he just gradually finding his stride here. He put a great opening end, but this has probably been his best end since, so if he scores here he'll be quite happy.
Change of length could have been the key, Darren, really. We were saying yesterday it seems to be all to do with who controls that jack length.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, here's Connor just arriving, but just holding off again down that side, so yeah, I think the jack change from Andy tells its story. Connor settled into the game pretty well, and Andy probably felt he had to change things.
2 shots, Andy Thompson.
And a good decision to pick up the 2, and he's right back in the set now at 4-all. So, we're 6 ends into this set,
Set
and
score,
many
4-4.
times N7's described as a key end, and it's probably 7 and 8 in this set. N7 and 8 are going to be crucial to determine who takes the first set.
Yes, so many times in these 9-end sets, Darren, we say that the 7th end can be a crucial end. At the qualifiers, Connor will have been used to playing 7-end sets. 9 ends gives you just that little bit more chance to claw back a
26
large
meters.
deficit, but this has been a really good game for all.
Yeah, it's been a really good game to watch so far. Lots of things turning round. Andy lay a good first end of the set. Connor played a great bowl. Connor's drawn a couple of good last bowls. So both players will probably think they've done enough at this stage. But it's been a really good game.
just be under the line here with his bowls. Good weight.
Connor's Jack high, yours.
Yeah,
is
obviously
one
the
over.
Jack dropped a bit shorter again from Andy, and it's quite interesting that going up this way, Andy seems to be liking the forehand, Connor on the backhand, so kind of got a difference of opinion going up the way, and both players playing different sides of the rink.
We've seen that a number of times. I think in one of your pairs games we commented that Stuart Anderson was really finding the forehands very, very well, and his opponent was playing the opposite hand. As you mentioned before, Darren, I think all forehands at the moment are reacting reasonably. Early stages of this World Bowls Championship.
Yeah, all forehands are certainly playable, there's no doubt about that. You know, I think, as I say, for us this year, what we are tending to find is that if you are just arriving, then the hands, particularly backhands, are just holding off slightly, and I think that's why people maybe who wouldn't normally play the forehand are switching on to it a bit quicker. But as I say, all hands are playing to a reasonably good standard, and you're seeing that in matches. Folk are choosing to play the hand of their choice, so I think if you're drawing, then all the hands are there to be drawn on.
And Connor's urging this bowl on, just like it.
Just needs a touch of the jack or the ball, and he's again found the gap, but he's fallen back in. A couple of times he's been coming down there, and he looks really good, and he's just sort of drifted through a gap, but he's set himself up a great end here with 3 balls just waiting on a wee touch of the jack.
Well, Andy looking to cover the fact that to the left of your screen, Connor's got 3 green bowls there. If he did manage to get a touch on the jack.
He's just getting caught in the ball. Well, Connor has a couple of options, I suppose. If he's got a couple of second, he's blind the shot perhaps, but you know, if he arrives at this and sits Andy's bowl, he might make a 2 or a 3. If he turns the jack, he's got a chance of making a 3. So a nice draw for him here. You know, he's nothing to be frightened of.
Yeah, big bowl at this stage, 7th end. If you can turn Andy Thompson's bowl away. It's on a good height. Well, Connor.
He's sat in his own last bowl, so
Certainly think that last bowl looked like it's got shot.
I've got a feeling we might see the umpire Tom Mear out again for the 3rd time in this match.
I like to keep them out of mischief out there.
Measure for shot.
Measure for shot. Declared.
Well, certainly in these situations, it's always nicer to have 3 in the measure than Andy here, who's obviously only got 1 of his bowls, but quite a big measure this, depending on the outcome.
Yeah, I think that looks like definite 1 green.
They seem to favour the front one, so yeah.
2.
Yeah, it's looking like it's 2 green, so great last bowl from Connor. He arrived with sufficient pace to turn the jack or the bowl. Just fell through the gap,
2
big
shots,
shot, so
Sonata.
a good 2 for Connor on end 7, and it gives him a 2-shot lead with 2 ends to play this set.
Yes, he's played it very well. Darren doesn't seem to have shown any nerves.
No, absolutely not. He's played a good first set. He'll be really happy with the way he's come and settled in. I know as a qualifier myself in the past, you know, it's a very difficult process to get here, and the last thing you want to do is come here and not give it your best shot or not bring your A game, and certainly Connor will be very happy that he's come here and played the way he has. As I say, 2 up with 2 ends to play in the first set. Quite sure he would have taken that at the start of this match.
Don't forget, folks, we do have Darren Burnett with us for the entirety of this game. Any more questions, just pop them to us on Twitter or the chat site at YouTube or on Facebook.
Certainly for Andy, this is probably a must-score end. If he drops anything at all, then it's going to be difficult for him to get anything out of the set. And again, just coming up slightly short.
Yes, again, that's bowling towards our commentary position. Connor's body language said that this was a tad over.
Yeah, well, it's not much, you know, it's a good bowl, really. He's putting them in close to the jack and putting Andy under a bit of pressure.
We had the World Bowls Tour Annual Awards on Saturday night, and Connor won Young Player of the Year and thoroughly deserved, qualifying for the World Championships. Also down to his performance at the Super Bowl.
You know, he's gesturing here that he might have just overplayed this again, but he's certainly out in a very good line. Might just slip past the jack, but if he catches his own, it's a great ball. You know, he didn't really like it. He thought he was a bit quick.
18-inch cap. Shot
Certainly
ball.
a great bowl.
4 inches.
No, there's no ledge for Andy Thompson to rest on.
No, I think the most frustrating thing for Andy will be that he's dropped short twice. You know, on an end he must win. He now has put himself under pressure and left little but a dead draw.
Has he reached with this one? 3 short bowls, Darren. Rule number 5, just struggling for his pace.
Yeah, and the key to that was his first 2 bowls. You know, he'll be disappointed in himself that he's just come up short twice, and he left himself nothing but the perfect draw. And as I said earlier in commentary, that if you're carrying any weight at all, you're just going to hold off and run past. So he's left himself nothing but the absolute perfect draw. And he knows if he fails, he's probably, well, he is losing the first set, so that adds a bit of pressure as well.
Another good bowl from Connor, just slightly over, but definitely not a bad bowl.
3 green.
Well, young Connor Sinato laying the set lie to take the opening set here in the first round game at the World Indoor Bowls Championships. All singles games today for you. This afternoon we have Jason Greenslade versus Jamie Chesney.
You know, Andy, your chest pulling up and falling out again. Certainly cut the count down, but if it's still a 2, then he's got a very difficult task.
Take it with the minutes.
One green declared. It looks like Tom Wee is being called on again.
Yeah, he's been a busy chap this morning. I think it's probably the most amount of measures I've seen in any game this year so far. I think it's probably his 4th visit to the rink in any end, so that's what he's here for. But yeah, a lot of measures. It looks a comfortable 2, so that would mean Andy now needs a 4 to tie the first set. Very difficult to get a 4 at any point in the set, but at the last end, really the odds are stacked against you.
Set score 4-8.
I don't say too much, Darren. At the Scottish International Open, I did the commentator's curse of saying you don't often get counts of 4 at this level, and then they proceeded to be 6 in the next 2 games.
Well, for fear of Connor's fan brigade getting on to me, I hope I haven't cursed it, but it really is difficult to score a 4. It's not impossible, but it is difficult. And saying that, Connor's just lost his jack, so does give Andy the opportunity to try something completely different, to try and make his four.
Yeah, it's, the jack does seem to be key out there, and in practice sessions the players tend to play to a stationary jack, so not a great deal of opportunity to actually practice jack delivery, Darren.
No, it's probably something that we don't do enough of, if I'm being perfectly honest. You know, we position a jack at one end and then we rotate it, and we probably don't roll the jack enough. And certainly from what I've seen in the pairs games, the jack seems to be running over the surface pretty quick, and you know, there's been a few jacks either lost or certainly just stayed on the edge of the rink. So it's one thing that does seem to be going across the surface at a fairly decent speed, is the jack, and it's quite a key element of our game. You know, if you've got a length you've settled into and are playing well, there is an art in rolling the jack and keeping it at that length. By losing the jack, you hand your opponent a great advantage back. So it's not just a formality in our sport, it's actually one of the key elements in singles play, is trying to keep your jack at a length you're catching. By losing it, you almost hand it over to your opponent. So there's many a game been won and lost on the rolling of a jack.
Well, Andy's not put a good bowl up there to try and counter 4. That's probably set over.
Yeah, there's certainly no 4 now whatsoever. I'm going to stick my neck on the line and state that now, and I think I'm quite confident I'll be correct. So yeah, Andy will be disappointed with his opening ball. Just as the sets went on, he's just started to drop slightly short, and that'll probably frustrate him even more, because, you know, if you are dropping neat or short, then you really limit your options to score an end. If you're missing through the head, then there are usually still options to attack heads, but unfortunately just dropping the odd ball too short.
Yes, runner-up here last year, Andy Thompson. Looking like he might lose the first set of his open gambit here at Potter's Resort.
Yeah, Connor's doing the right thing. You know, there's no point in him building anything up. He's just throwing his balls, you know, putting them in different positions, so there's no pick out. And I think this, you know, could potentially be the last ball of the set.
Well, if this goes off, Darren, it's...
One shot, Andy Thompson. First set, Connor Sinato.
Yeah, I think Andy knew he had no chance. His first ball cost him any real hope of making a 4 there. He then tried to possibly run 2 of the green balls out and give himself a chance, but there was never a 4 after his first ball, so I think he knew that.
So, young Connor Sinato takes the opening set 8-5 against world number 5, Andy Thompson. And we're going to the second set.
It's been a good game. You know, I think Andy started really well. When you think about it, really a great end, and Connor converted that to his advantage, and Connor put a couple of good last balls when Andy was lying a couple, you know, and they're probably the key elements of the set. Connor's played pretty consistent, probably slightly more consistent than Andy over the course of the set, but 2 or 3 big balls from Connor probably patterned out the set and you know, secured him the first set victory, which I'm sure he'll be delighted with.
Jack line 29 metres.
Yeah, gone back to his full length jack.
It's the beauty of sets play, you know. Although Connor finished that set strongly, Andy's now back at 0-0 and can focus on trying to win the second set, which he must do to force a tie break.
Don't forget, we're with you for every ball that's sent out here on the portable rink. As I mentioned earlier, we've got Jason Greenslade versus Jamie Chesney this afternoon for you at 2 o'clock. And then tonight at 7:30, Mark Royal playing the overseas qualifier Neil Furman. Close again here, Darren.
Yeah, he might just drift under the jack. Yeah, very good effort and a good ball. 2 balls in the head, and he'll be quite happy with that. A good opener from Andy as well, so that's what Andy needs, I think, over the next few ends, is just to get his first and second ball operating again, and hopefully if he puts Connor under pressure, he'll hope he'll maybe secure a count on one end. So he's in again, I think, on a good line, just has to run the last section, but just coming up a wee bit short.
Looks better here again.
Oh, he just has to run, he's on a great line. Great line, yeah, and he sits up. He's falling out at the end there, but again, 3 balls within a foot. You know, you can't ask for more than that.
Well, we've mentioned the PBA, but also if you sat out there watching this bowls, fancy having a go, all the organisations, I know certainly the EIBA, the Scottish Indoor Bowls Association, and the Welsh and the Irish, not to be forgotten, have got a list of clubs on their site. Find your local club, get involved, go down and have a go. It's certainly a sport for all, as things like the Commonwealth Games proved. Disabilities, any age, either of the sexes, anyone can come and have a go.
A big opportunity here for Connor. If he drifts down onto Andy's bowl or sits onto the jack, he can make a really big count. He's very, very close. Gets a jack movement, just doesn't quite move the jack, but a fantastic bowl. And again, he has Andy under pressure.
Sandy Thompson's the manager of the English under-25s, of which Connor's a valuable member of that team. You already know, will Andy, what a quality player Connor is. Connor will certainly be impressing his manager here.
And he's urging this one on again. I just wonder if he's just slightly under. His weight wasn't too bad, to be fair. Just on the tighter line, probably aware that you can't go too wide. But he's going to drop a 2 at the opening end. I think Andy will just be slightly disappointed. The first ball of the end was a good one, just sitting in behind the jack, and he didn't back it up or follow it up. And I think at this level, we're all very aware that that's the key to setting the end in motion, is getting your first one there and backing it up with bolt 2 or bolt 3. And Andy just came up short with both of them again. And I think that's probably going to be frustrating him. You know, he knows he's played a good first bowl and just hasn't quite followed it up with bolt 2 or bolt 3, and Connor's put him under pressure.
This looks under the line. A chance for Andy here, really. Got to take it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's early doors in the set, but having dropped the first set, Andy certainly doesn't want to lose the first 2 or 3 ends of this one. That'll just give Connor a confidence boost, and it's the last thing Andy wants. As I say, I think he needs to score the next couple of ends and settle his cell into the second set. And that's a great opener.
Better here.
Yeah, just unfortunately, just drifting inside the jack, but a fantastic effort. Sure, Andy, this is the key bowl. As I said, the last end he got one in close and then didn't follow it. He'll be keen to get this one in.
Good track.
Yeah, this is much better from Andy, much better.
2 red.
Connor just choosing to try and draw this. I thought he might have, well, he has reached it. I thought he might have gone a little bit firmer. He does have a huge drive in the armoury.
3/4 of an inch.
Yeah, certainly, you know, he had the options to go quicker at that and kill the end onto the respot at his side of the rink. Chose just to play a reach and draw, but very difficult, you know, as you add weight on the portable rink, the hands do tend to just sit off slightly. You know, he's got a big decision to make probably with his last bowl here as to whether he tries something similar or changes his options. So Andy's last bowl's probably going to make that a slightly more awkward shot. And the options to me here are he plays a similar shot, just a full drawn, touches Andy's bowl in the hope he springs the jack, or there is a forehand runner to play as well. He's going with the forehand runner, but not playing it with too much pace. He's really just over the draw. Reasonable track if he can clear his own front one.
It's possibly made second.
Yeah, puff of the cheeks there from Connor. He knew he was very close to the right line. He just didn't quite get inside his wide bowl. But yeah, he may have made second, and I'm sure he'll be quite happy with that if he has.
Andy's close here. Doesn't want to tip Connor's closer.
Good
Well,
effort,
Andy
just pulled into Connor's ball. Had he slipped past it, he would have definitely made it 2, possibly 3 if he'd sat Connor out. Just came onto the wrong side of the ball.
Score
But
1-2.
sure, Andy will be happy to be on the card. Sort of better end from him. He actually got 2 or 3 in there, and moving forward, he'll hope to produce more ends like that. Obviously, bringing the mat well up for this next end, so he's definitely trying to mix it out there, change the lengths, and just knock Connor off his stride a bit.
Good view there of the stadium here at Potter's Resort. New set been put in this year.
Target 24 meters.
You can clearly see the shot clock at the back of the players. They have 30 seconds between their opponent's delivery coming to a standstill to get to the mat to play their bowl, with 5 timeouts allowed, which gives an extra 60 seconds if required. Not had many singles games so far here, Darren, but shot clock hasn't worried anybody yet anyway.
No, I think it's been around for long enough now that most players have adapted to it and are aware of how much time they have. You know, in a tight game, it does still catch 1 or 2 out, and it gets close to the hooter sound. But thankfully, certainly it's not caught me out yet. But it's just another aspect of the game to be aware of as you get into a tight match. All sorts of things to think about now tactically.
Well, he's played with this with a little bit of weight because he's just under the drawing line.
Yeah, just fell under, but probably made second shot, so Andy again started the end with a great opener, and that's certainly what he has to do. I think he knows that if he gives Connor any room at all, he's going to be punished.
Too red.
It made a second. Looks overplayed here, Darren.
Yeah, and if you're carrying it at all, it's just going to sit there as this one is. He has got inside that bowl, so it does give him options with his last one to maybe go a bit quicker, run the 2 bowls or the jack. So falling inside Andy's bowl certainly giving him options now, but you can just see a switch in the play. Andy's starting to dominate the early exchanges, and it's slowly but surely switching in Andy's favour, so Connor's going to have to produce a big last ball here.
Yes, it's probably the loosest end that Connor's played throughout this game.
Andy will be disappointed with that. You can see from his reaction, he knows he's now left Connor a big opportunity here. He's got 2 third shots, so I really think this is an attacking bowl. Pushes red onto red, he makes 2 or 3. If he gets a clean jack, then he also makes a couple, so I certainly think Connor will be up arriving at this. Just a bit wild with his attacking bowl
shots,
there.
Andy
He just
Thompson.
missed the line, unfortunately for him. Opportunity, although he was 2 down there, that was quite a good opportunity to maybe make a 2, so he'll be a bit disappointed with his last ball there.
Yeah, he's normally fairly on target with those sort of shots, and that was the right sort of pace to go with, Darren. It wasn't just playing just over.
Yeah, no, most players on the rink would probably say it's an easier shot to go, reasonably firm than to try and just play it with good weight. At your club you might elect to play a 2 or 3 yard runner because we all know that can make a lot of shots, but on the portable rink it's just so difficult a shot that sometimes you're better going quicker. You may not score as many, but your percentage of attacking the head and hitting it gets higher, so I think when you're on the portable rink you have to forget about that sort of 2 or 3 yard shot unless it's absolutely essential.
That's an unusual opening bowl by Andy. Didn't get the line or the length there.
Yeah, he certainly opened the door for Connor again, so he'll be keen to step back in here with his opening bowl. Just slightly overplayed, but again on a good line. Again, Andy with good weight, just holding off slightly.
Gives
Certainly.
Connor another opportunity. Closer here, Darren.
Yeah, that was what was required from Connor. Good adjustment from his first ball, and Andy probably just left him too much room, as he'll know himself.
Closer. If you can just get an edge off Connor's bowl and sit in.
1 green.
Good effort from Andy. Reasonably good second. Just pulled up slightly short.
Nickname of Connor is the Ginger Ninja. But, we already have one of those in the top 16 in Nick Brett, so perhaps we better call him Ginger Ninja Junior.
It's a very good ball from Connor there. Followed up his last delivery with a perfect ball. Turned the jack round the corner, and he's left Andy in all sorts of trouble here.
His view there
Might
of the
just see a timeout from Andy. I don't think there's been many called in the match, but I think he'll be taking a timeout here.
Yeah, you see the clock at the back above where Connor stood. Went up to 60 seconds. He's got 4 timeouts remaining in this game.
Andy's in a heap of trouble. He would probably like to attack this, but if he gets the wrong connection, he could go 3 down and leave Connor loads of space to add a 4th shot, and he certainly doesn't want to do that. He is 2 down at present, but it's one of these situations where he really has to think about this carefully. He still has a backhand draw to try and draw 1st or 2nd shot, but if he goes with the runner and doesn't get the right connection, it could be a disastrous result.
If he drops a 2 at this end, he's only 1 behind in the set. Oh, he's opting for the runner.
He's wanting green onto green. He got it, but he's lost his nearest one, so I don't know if it's still 2 or just the 1, but Connor's going to have space to add another.
Favour one, but it's a good measure.
Favour one, but a good measure. Marker Francis Fletcher had to give Connor a quick response to his question there, as obviously the clock was counting down. Urging this to run.
Yeah, just pulling up, falling off the seam there, so not sure he's done enough with that one.
That could have been just he felt rushed with the time. Had plenty of time though.
Yeah, he did have plenty of time, and
One green measure for 2.
he did have the option to come down and take a time out too and have a look himself. You know, he had the option of just being over the weight there and making a 3, and just by touching the jack, you know, he may be lying the 2 anyway, but maybe worth coming down to look at that one and decide himself on the right shot to play.
Looks like he's 2. Like you say, he missed that spare with his last bowl.
2 shots, Connor Sinato.
Connor takes the lead in the second set, 4-3 after 4 ends. I'm sure he'll be going back to his 29-metre jack if he can. Looks to be running this jack.
Jack White 29
Yeah,
metres.
another one that's just survived the course of the journey, so back to his familiar length, and he'll be keen to start getting his first and second bowl in on the jack again and putting Andy under pressure.
Don't forget, if you want to put your questions to Darren Burnett, we have him with us for the entirety of this game. Only 5 ends left to play though, so they're going to have to be quick if they've got any questions, Darren.
As long as they're not too complicated, I'm sure I'll try and help.
And preferably broadcastable.
Definitely.
Connor choosing to change hand here. Practice this forehand well in practice earlier today.
Yeah, fascinating again that, you know, this direction, first 3 bowls, all just marginally short, and it's been interesting to watch this game fully. I've watched a lot of games this week, but in parts, not really a full game, and I've seen a lot of balls dropping short, but it's been quite evident watching this game just the amount that are pulling up short in this direction.
Yes, it does seem to have been one of the threads of every game.
Again, just pulling into the pack, you know, he'd be quite happy. He's line 1 or 2, but there is still space for Andy.
Andy coming to have a look at this.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can be a bit deceiving because those bowls might look like they're right on the jack, but we can see from here there's a good 18 inches really, perhaps a little less, but a bit of room.
I'm out cold.
Yeah, I think Andy's doing what I thought Connor might have elected to do the last end. He had plenty of timeouts left. Just come up, get a look at the head for yourself and decide your shot. Just maybe give yourself a bit of extra time to think about your bowl. You know, this is a crucial bowl for Andy. He has to score these ends, and he knows there's room, but I think he's just taking a tactical time out there just to weigh it up for himself, see the head, and hopefully produce a nice drawn bowl.
All he has to do is adjust on his last bowl, even if he promotes his own bowl to the right of your screen. Box in the parish.
Yep, that might be good enough. And everything worked to plan there. He took his time
One
out,
red.
the correct decision, saw the head, and he's executed his shot. Very good ball.
Well, again, Connor, similar shot, just needs to improve on his last delivery. Might just drop short again here, Darren.
Yeah, Connor's just dropped 4 short balls this end. I mean, they're not that far away. I'm certainly not trying to be harsh on them. You know, they're not far off the jack. But the disappointing thing for him will be that all 4 have finished just on the wrong side of the jack. And he has a reasonably good opportunity here to try and add a second shot. Again, just by, as you said the last time, Janice, turning his own front one in, or just slipping round it to add that second shot.
Very good line. Good ball from Andy Thompson there.
2 excellent balls to finish the end with. Andy will be delighted with them. You know, that was
Good
2
shot, Andy Thompson.
superbly drawn shots, and you know, a very big 2 in
Set score
the set to go 1 in front.
5-4.
Yeah, after 5 ends, Andy Thompson's 5-4 up. He has to win this set. He lost the first set to Conisinato 8-5. Good crowd in today. We have a sellout for next weekend.
Jack Wayne 26 metres.
Still 1 or 2 day tickets available, the early sessions, but one of the questions we had yesterday was how many seats are out there, and there's 1,200 at full capacity. Fantastic stadium to play bowls under, Darren.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a fantastic venue. The best complex arena in the world that I've certainly played bowls in. Very good when it's full as it is today. The crowd are very supportive and they make part of the game as well. You know, if the players are producing it on the rink, the crowd are encouraging you off it. There's no better place to be than on that portable rink here at Porters.
Jack line. Yeah.
Well, Andy just wants to glide inside his own bowl now. It was a good length with his first.
Excellent. Great ball. Great adjustment from his first. Connor had put a reasonably good first one in, and it's a great ball from Andy in reply.
I thought Connor might have opted to change his hand there, try and rest Andy's bowl, but he's certainly looking at this, Darren, very
Gets
close.
any jack movement, that's what he needs. Oh, perfect ball. Just drifted down the jack, slightly behind his ball. Super end of ball so far.
That's obviously why he played that hand then.
Yeah, I mean, it did look from where we are that there was slightly more Andy's ball available on the forehand, but he has played the backhand most of the game, so I can understand him choosing just to continue with that.
Andy looking to reach the jack, might have just been a touch under. He did
He's
get
He's actually touched the jack. You know, that's great effort. Hard to believe he could touch the jack and not make the shot. I've got a feeling you might see that forehand draw now from Connor.
a bit too dangerous on the backhand now. Been in commentary 5 days now, Darren. I've not played a bad bowl yet up here. Just a touch wide.
Yeah, well, it's not an easy shot for Andy Thompson here, but he does have a an opportunity to play a similar bowl to his last. If he just gets a squeeze on the jack, he can make 2 or 3 shots. A really difficult shot, but if he does get it, he's certainly got the option to make a couple.
He was so close with his last one as well. Something very similar.
He's out on a much wider line this time, so it will be dependent on his weight. It will come back big at the end. Super effort again, he's just fell onto the other side of the bowl this time. This is one of these occasions where although Connor has the last bowl, you can hardly call it a spare shot. He's really got to be very careful here. He's line 1, ties the set up, he's won the first set, so I don't think we'll see too much bravado here from Connor, just a quiet draw on the backhand.
He's watching it.
One shot, Connor Sonato.
Ties the set up at 5-all after 6 ends, and we're going into that crucial 7th end.
Set score 5-5.
In the first set, Darren, after 6 ends, we were 4-all. It was crucial. The 7th end, Connor scored a 2 in the first set at the 7th end. Can he repeat that in this second set?
Yeah, just looking at that there as well, Janice. You know, 2 very tight sets at 6 ends, and Connor just finished the first set the stronger. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in this last 3 ends. It's almost like a mini set in itself now. You know, the player that wins 2 of the 3 ends is going to have a strong advantage. Connor has the added advantage of not needing to win the set. He only has to tie this one, so makes him in a slightly more favourable position. Andy, on the other hand, has to win the set to force the tie break.
That's 18 inches short again.
Slightly overplayed here from Connor, so he's given Andy a chance to improve on his first bowl.
Yes, now, if any time, is likely to be where nerves might set in for the young man from Kettering.
Big bowl this from Connor. He wants to try and get in with this one and not leave the pressure to his last bowl, so slight adjustment on his first 2.
Better. Oh, a good bowl, Connor.
One green.
Great third bowl there. He was under a small amount of pressure. Had he failed with that one, Andy would have added a third, and you certainly don't want to drop multiple count at this end.
Something just disturbing Andy there. Just a rustle in the crowd there. Sometimes it does happen. The umpire that's on the shot clock, Mike Davis, will have noticed that, and if necessary they do have the facility to stop the clock if it's not the player's fault. Andy just asking umpire there how many timeouts he has remaining. He's taken 2, so I think the answer's 3, Andy.
O'Connor, can you add another? Certainly coming in on a good track here, just has to run the last section. Just going to drop out, I think.
Not made a target though for Andy. All Connor's bowls are in line, but there is still the draw there for Andy Thompson.
Yeah, nothing else on, just a backhand draw. If he lifts the green ball once, or if he falls back onto the jack, he has a chance of making a 2, but I'm quite sure he'll be happy just to draw the shot, score the end, and move into end 8 with a 1-shot advantage.
Has he overplayed this?
I think that's what I talked about earlier. That backhand is usually slightly more forgiving to the players in that if you're just carrying a slight bit away, it would normally still make its way back to the middle. All 3 of Andy's balls there just sat on the higher line. He's only 18 inches up, and I think that's why players are trying to play it with the perfect weight, just so they get the bend back, and in doing so are dropping short more often than they normally would. I think that kind of showed it in its entirety that there. He just overplayed it 3 times and it just never looked like
Jack
coming
line
back.
29 metres.
Well, I think this is a must-win end really for Andy Thompson. If Connor even counts 1 shot here, it would leave Andy needing to score a 3 at the last end. Don't forget, Connor won the first set. Andy Thompson has got to win this set. A tie is no good to him. And a great opening bowl there by Connor.
Yeah, I think he's been looking at my manual there. He was all sorts of hand gestures, as if he might have been too quick, but almost a front toucher. Perfect opening ball.
I played with Connor at Jersey in the World Indoor Bowls Council mixed pairs, and for a man so young, he really does keep a very steady nerve.
Fantastic reply from Andy there, just what he required. The last thing you'll wanted to have seen was Connor's ball almost on the jack, and it's a great response.
Looks on a good track again here, all dependent on his weight. Just played it just under.
Centre bowl gap is 14 inches.
Andy having to switch hands from his first just due to where Connor's last one finished, but great track again, just has to finish the course of this, run it out. He'll make a second when he has.
Connor will want to reach this. Maybe it's a question of pick his weight, because his own green bowl into the head would help.
Yeah, just the one thing I would say about Connor's play is he's perhaps not used his timeouts as best as he could. I think I would have been going down there again, just to look at the head, look at the options, the angles. He's probably played a reasonably decent shot, but just not giving himself the opportunity to go down there and buy sell a bit of extra time. I think that was definitely a timeout opportunity.
Yes, he hasn't used a timeout yet, Connor. I think now's your time to really do that, Connor. Take your time, come up and have a look. Yep, must have heard us. Put his ball down and he's setting off up. If Andy Thompson holds 2, possibly 3 here now.
Yeah, usually when you're putting a runner ahead as wide as this one is, there's a number of options, a number of bowls that you might look to hit or come off of, and I think it's vital that you go to the head and see it for yourself. To try and do that from 29 metres away is really difficult. His first one's a toucher, so it's a chalker if you like, and in many respects it could be a key bowl. If he pushes that onto the jack and it goes into the ditch, it will be a live bowl because of it being chalked. So I think it really was a chance to go down there and study it a bit more closely. He's done that this time, so this is a big bowl.
Looks better.
He's certainly down the target. He might just get one here. It's a much better effort, you know, and I think just allowing himself the opportunity to see the head. Just, he is a quick player, as a number of the younger players are, which is good. It's what the sport requires. But you know, there are times just to take your time, slow it down a bit, and have a good study of the head. And I'm glad he did that with that ball. And you know, he was very close to getting a better result.
Chance for a 3 here for Andy Thompson. All on his pace.
Yeah, he's looking pretty good. I don't think there's going to be any mistake here from Andy. I'm going to take the 2 away and have a look. Connor, I think, fancies it's just the 2. Andy, on the other hand, is called the measure.
2 red measure.
Quite a big measure, this. If Andy wins the measure and scores a 3, then he can afford to drop 1 at the last end. If he, however, just scores the 2, then he must win the last end. So this is a big measure.
Gives an indication now. Looks like it could be red.
3 shots, Andy Thompson.
Huge end that there. Andy Thompson picks up a 3. He takes an 8-6 lead with 1 end to play. Remember, Connor only has to tie the set. Counts a 2. He wins the match.
Yeah, very much so. It is a massive 3 though, however, for Andy. I think most players 1 down upon the last end, just needing a 1 shot with the last ball in hand, would take that scenario quite often, but now Connor needs a 2. It just changes things slightly.
27 metres.
A little bit of a disturbance there again. There's no shot clock between the jack and the first bowl. So Andy has plenty of time to reset himself. Not 100% sure what that was. We've got a clear view of that side of the auditorium from our commentary position.
Yeah, well, Andy's certainly sailed back down. He's produced a good opening ball, so no damage done, thankfully.
And Connor doesn't like the look of that. As long as it's reaching, it gives him chances. Doesn't want to be short. And that's a little bit overplayed. Andy just wanting to put bowls about. The pressure's now back on Connor.
Yeah, Connor's sticking with the draw quite rightly. If he can get this one in about, he opens up himself a chance of a 2. He's not far away if he sits inside that ball. Yeah, gives himself a chance. Andy's electing to stay away from this, I think, and come round the back. He's very aware that Connor has the best back ball. He's going to cover it now and try and eliminate the options for Connor, who now probably just has to try and play just over the draw and rest Andy's ball away or turn the jack.
Big bowl here. Doesn't want to really leave it to his 4th bowl. Track looks good. That might have Turned his own ball in for shot, hard to tell from here. I think Andy's just asking.
I think they're also looking at the difference between the, if you like, the third and fourth bowls, because I think that's quite crucial. If Connor's side bowl, the furthest away one of Connor's, is beating Andy's back bowl, Connor has the option of electing to run Andy's bowl off the head to score the 2 shots he needs to get him into the next round. So I think the debate there was maybe not on who's lying, perhaps on whose bowl has the third shot, which is quite key. I think the fact Andy's staying well away from this would suggest that Andy probably has the third shot, sticking out wide just to cover the widest 2 green bowls.
Connor has got a couple of options, like you say, not sure whether he holds 2 seconds.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think if he holds 2 seconds, the obvious shot is just to run the ball off. If, however, he's not convinced he has 2 seconds, then that changes the shot he probably has to play. You know, he could just play a similar ball to his last and hope to turn the jack or turn Andy's ball away on the tight side. You know, he could still play a reasonably firm runner and hope that he gets a nice connection, Andy's ball, and then maybe a roll of the jack. It really just depends on whether he feels he has 2 second shots.
Well, when this bowl comes to rest, we'll know whether we're going into a tie break or not. He
Well,
looks close.
just going to sit off, I think. Oof.
Great effort.
Andy Thompson, and the second set, match tie break.
Yeah, it was a good effort from Connor there. He wasn't far off the target. I think if he wasn't convinced he had the 2 second shots, it probably was the right shot to play. Very good effort. But that's us now into the tie break, so it's been a good game, and probably over the course of both sets it's probably a justified outcome.
I think there's a bit of a murmuring in the crowd there because Francis was struggling to take control of the coin he was tossing.
Let's give the jack to Andy.
So it looks like Connor's won the toss of the coin, so he's elected, as many do, to give the jack away to Andy and retain the last bowl. It's always a fascinating decision to make, and I think most players, including myself, you know, would probably take the last bowl unless the jack length was a major difference. Then, you know, you might think about it more. The funny thing is, as a player, you do want the last bowl, but you always hope you're never going to have to roll it, so it's quite a fascinating decision, but most folk probably elect for the last bowl.
So, tie breaks are slightly different.
Jack length
Doesn't
59
matter
metres.
how many shots the players score. It's down to winning the end. And the first player to win 2 out of the 3 ends takes the match. This is where you favour the slightly more experienced player, Darren.
Yeah, you know, Andy's, you know, as the games went on, he has started to find his form and he's been more accurate with a number of bowls at each end. So, and in the fact he's won the second set as well, sometimes that can have a bearing. You know, the player winning the second set's on the lift and comes into the tie break slightly more confident. But, you know, Connor's young, he's not going to give this up easy, as that ball proves. You know, a great opening ball. You know, he's a fantastic player. He's shown that in this match, and it really is 50-50 at the moment.
Oh, we mentioned about where's the perfect position to place a bowl in a tie-break end, where Connor's bowl sat back to is one of them. I think a tie-break end in the pairs yesterday, Darren. A certain Darren Burnett played an excellent first bowl at the last end, almost in the perfect position.
Yeah, well, as a player, you know, in the tie-break, you hope you produce that perfect bowl, you know, and it's usually either a front toucher, as Connor's got here, or a back toucher, you know, that's really what you're aiming for, and then most players will probably stay away from it and force their opponent to get that shot back. You know, you don't want to build the head up and give your opponent a chance. So, you know, Connor's coming in near this head and he doesn't want to get that, you know, he's just given Andy a bit of an extra chance here. You know, he sat jack high. You know, it was a difficult shot for Andy before. It's still not easy, but he does have an option now of sitting Connor's last ball and getting across onto the jack. So
Yes, I think Connor should have perhaps been keeping away from that. A roll of his eyes there towards where his parents are sitting, I think says that the young man realises himself that it's one of those we sometimes call a good bad 'un.
yeah, I dare say he probably didn't want it to go there. You know, we don't have the luxury of walking down and setting them. So Andy's very close here, very, very close. Yep, he's got it. Great ball.
Just set up the target there, Connor, with that wing bowl. Andy took the opportunity.
Yeah, as a player on the mat, you know, to have the perfect draw, as Andy probably did, you know, with only 2 or 3 inches to spare, it's a really difficult shot. If you've got a ball sitting beside the jack high, it just gives you that extra bit of confidence to play the shot, you know, and Andy executed it fantastically well. Connor does still have options here. There is a plant at the front of the head. I'm not exactly sure if it's the perfect angle, but he could force his own ball in towards Andy's.
He's certainly playing to reach. He's in the area for something, looks slightly tight, might get a result off the red bowl.
Well, this is interesting now because the jack has stayed inside the boundaries of the rink. It's in the ditch, way out in the far corner of the rink, and you know, this is when the portable rink becomes very difficult. To get anywhere near where the jack has ended up, you're going to have to come down the inside hand, inside the pack of balls, and try and get as close as you can to the jack in the ditch. You would have no chance up the ditch side of getting any closer than perhaps 4 or 5 feet.
Well, I think it is 1 to Andy Thompson, so even if Andy put this very close, Connor can't run at the bowl.
This has to run from Andy. He's on the right line, but I think he's left it a wee bit short. Not a bad effort, but he'll know himself. He would have probably wanted an extra couple of feet out of that ball. It's just giving Connor an opportunity. He probably has maybe 3.5 feet to draw the shot. Not easy. Coming inside the line off that hand is never an easy shot, but Connor has perhaps 3.5 feet here to take the first end.
Well, he looks down a good track. What's his pace like?
I think he's played a perfect ball. Yeah. The animation from Connor there, which is good. An excellent ball. As I say, I think Andy would probably be looking to land similar to where Connor landed, and that would have put Connor under a heap of pressure. Just he pulled up a wee bit short, but Connor still had to execute the ball. Under the pressure, it was an excellent draw.
He would be disappointed in the fact that he set up the target for Andy Thompson to draw shot at the last end, but he successfully managed to open the head up and then drew a very good under pressure last bowl to take the opening end.
He's lost his jack. I think that's the second time in the match I can remember him losing his jack. So, whilst it's not crucial, you know, in a tie-break end, it's his right to produce the mat and jack at any length he feels he wishes, and he's now handed that opportunity back to Andy.
So it means Andy's actually casting the length of the jack, but also got the last bolt, and this is end 2 of the tie break. So therefore, with Connor winning the first end,
Jack line 27.
Andy Thompson, world number 5, runner-up here last year, has got to win this end. If Connor wins it, the 19-year-old steps into the second round.
Yeah, Connor's opening ball again, just slightly over the pace, but it's not a bad ball there. A few times this direction the players have just been pulling up on the neat side, so I think they're trying to make sure that they're passing the jack if they're not getting one right on it, giving themselves opportunities as the end develops.
And he might just be pulling up short again.
I think this direction's the direction in the match where both players have struggled slightly more. Some of the heads going away from our commentary box, the heads have been really good and both players have been quite comfortable. Coming back this direction has been, if there has been a loose end, it's usually been played this direction.
Still the chance for Andy here.
Andy's chasing this one up. He certainly looks to be on a good track here and further than his last. Yeah, very good ball.
Connor very, very quick off the mat. Only took 26 of his 30 seconds allowed there. All on his pace here, I think.
Yeah, it's just whether he can beat Andy's ball. I think he's just going to run. Yeah, just running through slightly. 3 great balls, all in a great line, just slightly overplayed. Andy's got a slight decision to make here. He'll probably want another one in about the head, ideally just slipping round towards the green balls. I think that's why I'll switch to his forehand. Try and make the green balls his target, and if he can get close to them, that's probably about as good as he can get.
Just overplayed it, but it's not bad there. If Connor did go for the bowl, it gives Andy best back, but I think it would leave a lot of room for Andy to draw.
Yeah, I think that's the problem for both players here. I think they know the short ball's beatable. Connor will probably just elect to try and draw this again.
Well, Connor, this ball looks under to me. He's played the slightly over timer.
Oh my goodness. That's an unbelievable result.
An immediate apology from Connor there. As a player, you like to play them fair and square. He was always under the line.
The only consolation for Andy is his last ball has given him the option of probably covering both respots. It really was a very, very fortunate ball from Connor. He tried to play that difficult shot, and as I said earlier, it swings away really quick to get the edge and back onto the jack and leave it in this position. It's a very, very big result at this stage of the game.
Well, we often say you need a little bit of fortune, but that was a huge amount at a tie-break end. Well, Andy,
It's very, very close here. Burns the end, he should score the.
will have gone out the side of the rink, which would mean on the respot.
Our angle's not great here, but they've called for the umpire to come on again, so it must be closer than we thought. I just assumed Andy's ball would be nearer to the tee. It would have a good chance of covering both respots.
Well, this measure will decide whether we're going into a third tie-break end. If Connor's green ball is shot, he would take the game.
It's Andy's ball, so I think in fairness to the game, that's a good outcome. You know, it's been a really good game, and it would have been a shame if it had ended with such a big result at that end. So a great ball from Andy, and we're right up to the last end of the match. So it's probably what the game has deserved.
Yeah, the last end of the tiebreak is the only end where the player can elect to kill the end. As you notice there, Andy Thompson killed that end, which means that the ball went out of the side confines of the rink and it was placed on the re-spot. And that's throughout the entirety of the game, both sets of 9 ends and the first 2 ends of the tiebreak. Whereas in this end, a player can elect to kill the end and therefore the end is replayed.
Javelin 29 metres.
All down to the lead bowl here, Darren.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had a few variations in length from Andy, but interestingly enough, at the very last end he's decided to go back to a fairly long jack.
Just pulled up short again. Seen that a number of times with Andy's lead bowl. Well, Connor, can you make the adjustment? He's been playing predominantly longer length jacks.
I feel he's just overplayed this one. Both players will be slightly disappointed with their opening balls, and it now moves on to ball 2 being the key ball. First one in here is going to set the end up. Much better response here from Andy.
Well, Connor's watching it. I think he might have overplayed it again, Darren.
Yeah, he's just overplaying it. It's just not getting back in time. He is beyond the jack, so it does give him opportunities, I suppose. But yeah, he just overplayed that ball there.
And he was just checking on his timeout situation. Both players get an extra timeout when you go into the match tiebreak.
Yeah, it's obviously movement now is up to the players because it's your time and your time out. But again, you know, it's another opportunity for Connor to be down at the head end so that he uses his maximum time. He's elected to stay down at the mat whilst Andy plays his third ball. But you know, he's got so many timeouts left. I think he really needs to start using them just to give himself ample opportunity.
Andy looking at a cover bowl here.
Yeah, I think Andy's worried that Connor might elect to try and take his ball out. So he's probably thinking, well, cover the re-spot in case Connor gets anything on the jack at all. He obviously doesn't want to go anywhere near the head. He feels he's lying a good one. As now is a decision for Connor to make. He could drive and try and take Andy's ball out clean. That would allow his green ball at the back to be the shot. He's got the same backhand draw as he's tried a couple of times and just overplayed, so he has a number of options.
I think he's just elected to kill.
Connor has 2 timeouts remaining.
Now he asked the marker about his timeouts, but I think he also indicated that he might kill the end.
It's a forehand runner. He's very
close.
very close to getting the ball. He's got it. Excellent
Well played,
shot.
Connor.
It's an excellent shot. You know, he's thought about his shot. I think he's executed it fantastically well. There's room for Andy Thompson to draw this shot. There's no doubt about that. But he now has to do it. Connor lies the match, Andy has one ball left, and there can be no mistake. Possibly has just under 2 feet, but a huge pressure ball.
Well, Andy's had the tendency to fall short. Doesn't look like there's any mistake with this one, Darren.
Oh, he looks very good. If he sits in front of the jack, it's perfect. Great ball.
I think he'll elect to go again here, Connor.
Yeah, problem this time is Andy's ball's just that wee bit closer to the jack. Even if he gets the ball, there's a chance the jack will move towards the side of the rink. I really think Connor has to think about nominating the kill. I've not heard him nominate the kill. Should the jack kill to the right hand side, you know, as we look, then he's going to lose the game on the respot. I just wonder if he's remembered.
I certainly didn't hear the nomination there to kill. Well, Connor, this to stay in the World Indoor Bowls Championships. Down a similar line, Darren.
Slightly wider, but he may get the jack. He's got the
Oh,
jack
he's followed
and
it.
the follow through with
And
the
he's
toucher.
followed it. Well
The
played,
jack.
young Connor Sonato takes world number 5 out of the singles. I'd like to thank Darren Burnett for his company this morning. Thanks, Darren.
Thanks, Gareth.
Don't forget to join us at 2 o'clock this afternoon for Jason Greenslade versus Jamie Chesney. Thanks so much for your company this morning.
Our commiserations to Andy Thompson, MBE, but of course our congratulations to Mr. Connor Sonato.